Hi and welcome to this week's Nasty Nelson podcast brought to you by Pickleball News Asia. This week we're going to focus on bad line calls in a professional PPA event that Tyson McGuffin was the victim of, and it just raised the question of bad line calls in general, so I wanted to delve into that. I'm now joined by Danny, who's one of the leading referees in Malaysia, and Jason Tay, who is one of the leading elite over 35 players in Malaysia. And I want to talk a little bit about something that is a bane of all of our existence, which is bad line calls. Before I do that, I just want to show something that happened in PPA about a week ago with Tyson McGuffin. So I'm just going to play that video. Let's just take a look at it.
Come on, there's no way, bro. Ref, did you see that? I'm literally right here. The line. No, match point is one. Stop, bro. Match point was one. Don't look up there, bro.
Dude, I'm in front of it. The ball is so deep. Like,
everybody on tour knows, bro.
No, you gonna say that?
I'm not the only one, man.
You gonna say that?
I'm just saying this.
Okay, so we can see from that video that even at the highest level, we're getting bad line calls. It's affecting games. In that case, McGuffin still won. But when I watched this, it just brought it home to me that this is something that we talk about all the time in local tournaments. So I wanted to get into this a little bit with you guys because you have different perspectives of when this happens, and see whether we can look into why it happens and if there's anything that can be done to improve things. So ironically, Jason, we were at a tournament yesterday, you were playing, and there was a classic incident in your game. I think game was to 21, you were playing mixed doubles.
It was a rubber set.
Yeah.
And I think the score was, we were down 19-20.
Yeah.
Right, and we were playing to 21, right? And there was a call. I think there was a call made by my partner. The opponent disagreed, and but I think I think I asked the ref whether he saw it, and then he said yeah, he saw it, and he confirmed, he called it out. So I mean yeah, it happens, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't see the ball because I was away from the ball.
Yeah, I was there. And I honestly also don't know whether it was in or out.
Yeah.
But, the opponent, I mean, you went on to win the game, and the opponent was obviously really, really upset.
Yeah.
But from you as a player perspective, when something like that happens, sometimes it works in your favor.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But how does it make you feel? Does it interrupt the game? Does it make you feel less happy about the result if you win? Just as a player, what's the impact of these bad line calls?
Let's take it in turn. For me, because I wasn't personally involved, as I was involved in the game, but I wasn't involved in the line call, like, because I didn't see the call as well. So whether it went against me or for me, for me yesterday, I was quite calm because I couldn't do much because I couldn't see, I didn't see the ball. We can't reverse time and all, right? For me, I was just like going back to the rules, right? So if there's a dispute, right, one person calls it in, one person calls it out, then I think at the end of the day, the ref will make the decision as well, right? And then if there's a decision made by the ref, then that decision should stand. But from what I understand, if the ref didn't see it, then it has a replay, right? I think I called the tournament director in as well because I think parties were getting uptight I think it was a bit over the place, and then I just thought I just called the tournament director in and then let him decide, right? And then for me, I just wanted to follow the rules. I mean, the rules are rules, right? So so we followed that. I think there are some incidents. So this incident, I wasn't personally involved, right, per se. But I think ironic part was I think I was personally involved in the match that he refereed, the MSPL one. I think we were playing for third, fourth placing, right? That call, I saw it out. The ref, he called it in. So that match, I was personally involved. Yeah. And I think my partner saw it as well. I think Mizzy as well. Mizzy was my partner then during the match. So we saw it out. I think of course there was an uproar, everything like that. And then because it was such a tight game, right? And then we were playing for third, fourth, right, in the league, right? It's a big league at that point in time. I mean, I think it's still the biggest league in Malaysia now, till now. So I think there was a lot to play for, right? So, and then we just wanted to do well for the team, because I think we had to win that match to go into a tie or something like that. So there was a lot at stake, right? And I, at that point in time, I was one of the key players for the team. I felt that there was a lot of pressure for me to deliver as well. And then I think I lost it a bit because I really saw it out. Yeah. Right? So
it's the feeling of injustice, right? When you put so much in.
Yeah. So I could definitely relate to what happened, what happened yesterday to my opponent as well. But I couldn't do much except to calm him down. Yeah. But of course, it's difficult at that point in time to be calm, right?
Of course, yeah.
Because there's so much to play for, right, these days, right?
Yeah, and in that game, you've been going for a couple of nearly an hour or so to get to that point, because it's a rubber game. But I want to bring it to you, Danny. So we've got specific examples, but we don't have to keep it specific. When you're on the spot and you have these situations, where you've got a line call that gets disputed. First of all, how does it feel for you? And how much pressure do you feel, one, to get it right, but also when one of the players gets really irate? Is the pressure so much that you can buckle? What's it like?
Man, I mean, I think just like the players, referees are very involved in the game, and we try our best, right? That's why we are there, to see as much as we can and to support the game so that it runs as smooth as possible. And especially when it comes to a dispute, of course, you will feel the weight on your shoulders, because like what Jason said, there's a lot to play for and players give 110%, right, to the point, especially when it comes to podium finishes, right? So it's also a learning experience as well. I mean, coming to the game and to have that title for me, as like I said, whether it's a leading referee, there's also quite a lot of pressure, to be honest. And then I think sometimes a lot of players also don't forget that we are also human as well, and we try our best, whether it's conditions, whether it's hard to see. But that is an example of something that I learned from, especially if you see a replay and you realize that, oh man, there's a call that, because sometimes the balls do travel very fast. We do make mistakes, and then we just have to learn from it and move on. But as easy as that sounds, it's not easy, because an incident like that does affect you as well. For me, in this case, it did affect me, because what if next time I make a wrong call again and I'm right on screen? I think it was also live streamed as well, right? So of course that affects me, but I think that's just something that we've learned from it.
But let's say, so let's come back to the video and stuff in a minute. Yeah. But let's just talk about what happens in a situation like, there's two different situations here. There's one that Jason was talking about, which was the actual situation where he saw it one way, you saw it another way, you stuck with your call. Yeah. When the players put pressure on you, does it ever make you doubt your call at that time? Or are you always very clear? I saw it, I called it. But also, what about the other situation where a similar thing happens, but you haven't seen it and there's an argument? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so if it's, like I said, the rules will be receiver call. Unless a lot of tournaments here will be receiver call. And if there's a dispute, then it will go to the referee. And this is what I've learned from organizers as well. As soon as there's just straight away for me, I will make the decision straight away. Like, did I see it in or out? If I didn't see it, if I saw it, I'll keep the opinion to myself, unless asked. And when I'm asked for an opinion from the players, it will be the final call. So then when they ask me, oh, is this in? Then I'll say, oh, I saw it out. Then we move on. Of course, then feelings will be felt by both sides. One side will feel happy about the call. One side will not be happy about the call. But it's not easy to move on from there. But as a referee, we just have to, just move on to the next point. I have no choice. That's how it is to keep the game running.
Yeah.
If it's something that I did not see clearly, right? What even I've learned from Howard, from the PPA of recent, the previous tour, was if you don't see it because of the angle, that is live as well, right? We can't see it and we'll just say that wasn't a line call that we can make a judgment on, receive a call. It goes back to receive call. So that's what the rule says. Even in PPA, there isn't any linesman. I mean, like, we will probably get into that later, right? But that's just the human side of things for sure.
Yeah. So, and then you mentioned about the video replay. I think when you say that, you're actually talking about spectators on the sidelines, and that one's a problem, because even video replays from the wrong angle are not conclusive. So that can actually cause an issue. So until we have the right technology, which we can get to in a minute, it's really difficult with those on the sideline stuff.
Yeah, if I could add on as well, like, I think sometimes whether it's game strategy or what, because in the end it's game, right? There's a mental side to the game, like what Jason has mentioned. It does affect you whenever something that disrupts the game. So even for referees, it does when we're standing behind. I mean, spectators are very supportive in Asia, and we experienced that in Malaysia, in Penang as well, right? When I was refereeing that, but it comes to a point where sometimes spectators do affect the referees as well. Where you're standing, they can, whether it's a mumble or whether they shout, is it in or out, when they're telling the referee it was in, the kind of thing that you have to find ways to block it off and be really sharp, and for me, it's just in between games, I'll just take the time off to really just go and wash my face or whatever, so that sometimes referees do get fatigued. I mean, that's one thing as well, where a lot of organizers do not see the importance of having fresh referees all the time. Even I can get fatigued. I can't, sometimes it's just doing 12 hours because games go very long. 12 hours without rest, that's quite crazy as well. And it might affect your fatigue, might be seeing things, so that's also another factor. But I think there's a lot of things definitely that we could improve on.
Yeah, I think if I may add on, really, like, what goes behind the scenes, like what is in the player's head, the referee's head, you have to deal with, as a referee, right? Credits to them as well, because some matches they handle. We got big egos, top players and all. It's not easy to handle big players, right? It's really not easy, because we all have our antics, our different characters and big egos, So it's not easy to be a ref as well, right? I do sympathize with them. I do understand them, but like, you have your refs and you have your players, right? So your players, look, even though like people will say that it's just a game, but I think, speaking from a player's perspective, you're a player as well, right? Whether it's a mini tournament or big tournament, it's not a game, right? You're playing for a lot. You're playing for it's passion, and you're playing for a lot of stakeholders. There are sponsors involved as well, right? And I think at the end of the day, you train really hard, right? Like whether the third shot drops or whatever, and then it hits a line or whatever, and people calls it out, and then sometimes you just train to go close to the line, right? And you spend hours training for it, and then to have injustice, like a call like made against you, that you just feel like you're being robbed and all. But at the end of the day, right? I think we're all human beings.
I think you've actually encapsulated it very well, because people don't think of that at the time, that it looks like it's just a line call at the time, but it's not just a line call. It's 3 months of training and
More
hard
than
effort
that,
and
yeah,
everything.
more
That's
than
good.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So totally.
Some of us do it like every day.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there's an awful lot that goes into it, which is why it's highly charged. But interestingly, like, you know, when we talk about that player reaction, I also understand it, but I also can see that player reaction, particularly for I'll say less experienced referees, can flap them a bit. And I felt that even in your incident yesterday, the reaction of your opponent, which is understandable, his reaction is understandable for the reasons that you said. I feel the ref got a little pressured, maybe was inexperienced, and he flapped a little bit. But I just wanted to, we mentioned something about the technology, and I think eventually we'll have technology that works, that's affordable for local tournaments, but it's not here yet, and it's probably a little way off. But I think you've also both experienced an attempt to have a tournament where technology was used, which we all hoped would solve the problem. But I wasn't there actually, so I didn't see what happened, but it still didn't really solve it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can go. I was there at the tournament. I was playing that tournament, but it didn't happen in my match. From what I understood was a call was made, like there was an in and out thing, and then there was a dispute, and then I think they at that point in time there was a tournament. They used the video technology, so I think everybody was looking forward to it. And then when they tried using that technology, I think it took too long. Because I didn't know, and then at the end of the day, the tournament directors said that, look, they're not going to use this technology anymore for the rest of the tournament because it takes too long.
Just too disruptive.
It kills the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kills everything, right? So that was what I understood. So I mean, I'm not a tech person.
Yeah.
But to me, to me, it's like I don't think this kind of stuff is hard to get or hard to apply. But then again, I'm from a different world, so then again, I think it'll take some time.
Yeah. I think you're right, but I think it depends on how much you spend on it to get the right stuff. Were you were there? Were you officiating?
Yeah. So for that, the same tournament, there's only one court that had that technology, which was great because I think they'll put all the pro players or the high ranked players on that court, which is good, and that eventually would be the podium court. Like what Jason said, the replay, I think just to replay it, again, technology-wise, I'm not too sure, but whether it's frame rate or whatnot, but it took so long just to backtrack to that particular moment to see it. Actually, when they got it, it was really clear, but that moment just to replay, it took almost like a medical timeout. So there's like a 10-15 minutes, and that disrupts the game. So, I mean, players could, just challenge a call on purpose. It could be a tactic, right? Which I would say it happened in one occasion to take a break, to disrupt a flow.
10 minutes is definitely too much. I think you can't, because you have a few calls. The game just can't. It just doesn't flow.
I would say it's definitely the right direction to move towards. However, that execution part was just too long. I can't imagine that doing for every game, and then the tournament would delay really, really long.
I think you just can't do it that way. I think the technology will come, but in the meantime, I think the last thing I wanted to chat to you both about was, in between now and having the right technology that is at the right price, do either of you have views about anything that can be done to try and solve what looks like an unsolvable problem? As you know, I run tournaments. I've been tournament director. Generally, what I do is I publish the rules, which includes line call decisions. And generally what I do is I stick to those rules. That's basically it. I stick to it no matter what. But I know in doing that, and I've had situation with you, Jason, in a team event, I stuck to the rules, but I even knew in my heart that that fairness was not being achieved. I felt I was fair, and I still would, going back, I would make the same decision because those were the rules that I set for the line calls. But the resulting decision I made, I don't think gave fairness to the players. So it is a really difficult. It's like a squaring the circle, or whichever way you call it. So Jason, again, from a player's perspective, are there things that you think could be done even now by organisers to try and improve this?
Yeah, I think you put the technology aside, right?
Yeah.
Right. Let's do away with the technology for now. I mean, what I think organisers could do is basically have referees and line judges for the not for the preliminary rounds, of course, because I do understand there's a budget and it costs a lot, right, to have all these people. But I think maybe for the final few rounds, right, that you should have more line judges and referees if possible. I think now PPAs, they have two referees, right? One on each side, right? I mean, recently I played a team event as well, right? We had a ref and we had a few line judges, right? The problem was that the line judges were not qualified, right? I mean, they were young people and all like that, and I caught him sleeping.
Yeah, they get bored.
I caught him sleeping, and he wasn't looking at the line, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you just need to look at the line. I mean, so at the end of the day, if you have all these, like, let's say you have enough referees, line judges. I'm not trying to be too demanding, but I think they need to be qualified as well, right? It's not a quantity game, right? It's about quality as well, right? I mean, minimal, I think if you can, just have referees, just have one referee and a few line judges, or if not, maybe two referees.
Yeah, John Ung, who you know, right? He consistently says to me that he feels that in local tournaments, because of the amount of time that line judges have to sit there and they get bored, he feels two engaged refs, one each side, is the best answer. I don't know if he's right. That's his view, but it would certainly be better than your situation yesterday.
Yeah. I think moving forward, I think maybe organisers could try with two referees, right? Like qualified referees, and then they can have a discussion with each other, right? You know, at least there are two pairs of qualified eyes.
Yeah, I also think, Jason, that the timing of the bad calls has a big influence on how much it affects you as a player. So if you're, let's say it's a game to 21 and you're at 9-9 and there's a bad call, I think it passes generally more quickly. You can accept it. But when it's on critical points, it affects the outcome of the game on that. I think it escalates how bad the feeling is from the call. So one of the things that I was thinking about was, two referees for the important games, but also when you reach a certain point, a wake-up call for the referees. So let's say it's a game to 21. When one team hits, say, 16, it's actually a reminder for the referees, okay, you guys, you got to wake up now. Because it's tough. You said sometimes they're working 12 hours non-stop. So, but something so that on those really critical points, we can put a little bit more focus in at that time, because it's impossible to focus every game, the whole thing. But do you agree with that point? Like it's actually when the call happens, or for you, actually, does it not matter?
No. I mean, it's a good point that you brought up, right? At 9-9, you still got a long way, right? Emotions would have calmed down by then. But when you're at 19-all and you're playing till 21 and you've played rubber, right? It's totally different, man, because you've got all the adrenaline, right, pent up, and all the emotions pent up. So it's really different, right? I don't know. Maybe standing there, I from a referee's point of view, maybe it's too long for them as well, rubber sets, or maybe they should change referees every other set, or come rubber set, you change the referee or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea, because we've never done that, but I think we should. I mean, now you say it's obvious, actually. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and also maybe if we come to a rubber set, I think in tennis we've got a 5 minutes break, right? When we come to a rubber, and then when doing changeovers, I think maybe referees can take a break to freshen up as well. I mean, it's no wrong, because at the end of the day, we just want everybody to be in tip-top condition, right? To be fresh as well, right? because you've got the players, you've got the refs as well, right? I mean, sometimes, right, hats off to them, they've got a lot to do as well, right? So they need a break as well, right?
Yeah.
Whether a toilet break or something like that, So I think for referees as well, they shouldn't, like, I'm not teaching them how to do their job, but maybe they should be bolder to take a break as well, right? Right.
it's true. I think,
all the organizers can give their referees, or just let them know that, look, it's fine to take a break in the rubber set.
Yeah,
right.
In the interest of getting
they're not
it right,
robots, man. Yeah.
How about you? Anything that you think that, because obviously you're coming right from the sharp end, so are there things that you think?
Nothing sharp.
Because, yeah. Because you're
Also
sort of
refs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the mercy of tournament directors often because you're often head referee rather than TD. But are there things you think that organisers and tournament directors can do to improve this?
Oh man, I got a lot to say, but I'll try to keep it as concise as possible.
Okay.
But anybody can talk to me about it, because I think we are not like the PPA where there's lots of budget and lots of money involved. Hence why you have the technology. But like what Jason said, what can we do now to improve everybody's experience? You have so many stakeholders involved: players, referees, tournament directors, your sponsors, right? Because if things don't do well, in the end, everything is about face, right? Will affect sponsorship. Then next time sponsors might not be interested in the sport anymore because it is so not well run, right? So I think a couple of things that is needed. I think even let's talk about organizers first. I think Andrew, props to you. You run it very well with Mel, through experience, and you guys are able to be very agile to do it, and you adapt according to the situation. I think that's one thing that organizers should be very bold to do, because you are the organizer. You make the rules, and then that should be abided by even referees, players as well. But the thing that makes the difference is being bold to stick to that and not change halfway, and that is what it is. I mean, a well-run tournament is where the referee, if the game where a referee doesn't need to say much, that means that game was run really well as a referee's point of view, where even though there's maybe a dispute, but when the players move on and everybody's like, I think the referee has a lot to do to calm the nerves of everybody and to move on. I think that's a judgment of what a good referee is as well, to be bold. I think a lot of times when inexperience comes, that's when referees also get affected, and they'll be afraid to confront, like I said, a big ego or a big fierce person. That is something that I guess you have to learn from game experience and being out there a lot. So that's that. Organizers wise, I would say that I think because I would say the referees are being overlooked. Like I said, it could be, you might not be able to afford all the certified or more experienced referees, but I feel that's very important to make sure that the event runs smoothly. The social media is out there, so if anything goes wrong, it's definitely up there, right? And that doesn't look good on everybody, right? Whether it's a referee, some people might get personally attacked, right? Or organizers might get personally attacked as well, just because of something that happened, and that I think is not fair for people. But as organizers, I think it's good to, whether there's something that organizers could meet to see what's the best practice to run a tournament smoothly, and where should the budget sit and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's almost like the organisers, it's coming from a different side, but I think it's making the same point that Jason's making, which is we probably need to look after the referees a little better so that they can do a better job. And I don't disagree with that. From my experience running tournaments, you're always juggling with budget. And just from this conversation, there's things that I thought about. I think the idea of swapping referees through matches is a very good idea. So there's things we could do to think about that. I don't think we're going to solve the whole problem, but I do appreciate you coming in to talk about it and sharing some of the thoughts. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, Andrew, sorry, I think just one last point. Sorry. Yeah, for the referee's point of view, I think to people who are interested to be a referee, you can always speak to organizers, and there's even certificates out there to learn skills of how you can better equip yourself as a referee, to look at line calls better and how to deal with situations like that. And I think for everybody is to be sure and very certain about the rule book. I think John Ng is a great example. He reads the PPA and UPA rule book for fun. So I'm trying to be like that as well. And that confidence that you bring as a referee will bring confidence to the players that you know what you're doing, and being certain. And I think that goes for line judges. Line judges, I think, should be on a similar playing field as referees as well. Line judges, you can't, like the example I can't remember you gave. They some of them are just high schoolers because, to be honest, that tournament that I think there's no budget.
Realistically, that's from an organizer's perspective. I don't think you're going to be able to achieve that because there's so few people that want to be up to the level of referees. So you have to compromise with it. So, but anyway, as I was saying, thanks for both coming in. But before we finish off, any last points from either of you before we tie up today's chat?
No, but I think if you look at pickleball, how it has evolved in Malaysia throughout last year, I think this is our second year here, right, in Malaysia, and it's really growing really fast, right? I think you have so many stakeholders, so many sponsors, so many organizers. I think people really take time to hear people's opinions and all. So that's why you have like for example, tournaments catering to different categories, right, at this point in time, and then you see organizers spending more budget on I think referees as well. So I mean, you can see people are trying, right? So I think all credit to everyone. It's not easy.
Yeah, and I think it's as well. If we continue to have the dialogue, we'll find ways to improve as we go. But we're going to leave it there. So thanks again for coming in. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll catch up on this topic again at some point soon.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew, for having us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
As a player, it's always difficult to take any bad call, and Jason really summarized that very, very well for some of the reasons why it's so difficult. But I think the reality is, as players, we are going to have to accept that there's no perfect solution yet. There's just things that can be done to make it slightly better. And I think the dialogue is important, and listening to what players, referees, and organizers can do to improve the situation is the only way we can make strides to improving this almost unsolvable issue around line calls. For me, the point that I picked up with Jason in particular about the timing of a bad line call. If it's on a typical point early in the game, it's less critical and less distressing than if it's on a win or lose kind of point. And so maybe, given that one of the problems we have is lack of resource, just adding resource into those key games on critical points might be a way to solve some of the really harrowing decisions that sometimes get made. But I think reality is we're not going to solve it, but as a community, we will try to get better until the point where that technology is available at affordable rates to solve the problem once and for all. So with that, that's going to bring me to the end of this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to the channel if you did, and don't forget to check out our daily news on pickleballnewsasia.com.